Hey my friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. In this video, I thought it'd be fun to share with you 3 different ideas when it comes to looking for inspiration based in your everyday life. A few years back, I created an art journaling class called the Homebody Journal that was only based in prompts and concepts pulled from basically the mundane things in everyday life. And I've pulled 3 of those prompts into this video with the hopes to inspire you to start looking around your home or your daily routine when it comes to inspiration. Now, while my favorite place to gather inspiration for my art is nature and getting outdoors, I don't always have the time to do that, or weather doesn't always cooperate. And so over the years, I've really developed some go-to places in my boring, mundane surroundings and everyday life to really pull inspiration from. Finding ideas and gathering concepts for that art can be tricky. Sometimes you want to feel all those feelings you get when you are inspired or something catches your eye. Sometimes it feels like you need to be gathering inspiration from big, beautiful things. But I'm here to tell you that it is very possible that inspiration exists right under your nose in your daily life. Whether you're living in a small house or a big apartment, whether you live in the city or at the beach like I do, there's inspiration everywhere, even within your kitchen drawers, your junk drawer around the home, everything from pulling inspiration from your closet to perhaps the patterns and textures on your linens or your bedding, to really looking at the things around you, the things that surround you, and finding ways to put them to use in your art. I've pulled 3 of my own personal favorite prompts and concepts that I go to all the time if I'm needing to practice or play around with channeling inspiration. Practice is such a big part of what I do over here behind the scenes. It's how I come up with concepts. It's how I feel comfortable even sharing and teaching the things that I do online. And while I don't always have time to practice things that are pulled from these really beautiful places and spaces, I do always make time to find and pull inspiration from my everyday life. That's how I'm able to incorporate pieces and parts of me into even my practice pages in my art journal or my sketchbook. So I'm hoping maybe a couple of these ideas might come in handy for you over there, give you some ideas of things that you can pull from when it comes to your everyday life and looking for that inspiration.
All right, so first idea is actually documenting your meals. I absolutely love food. I love cooking food. I love eating food. And I actually really enjoy using food as a theme in my artwork, especially when I am not able to maybe go searching for things that feel a little bit more beautiful and big and inspiring. So, something that I like to do is actually document my meals or recipes, things that I am cooking or consuming in my everyday life. I will often do this in my sketchbook or my art journal, and I am notorious for using food photography in my art journal pages. I actually love taking pictures of my food. I love printing out my favorites that are colorful and compelling, and I also really love drawing my food. This is a really fun way to look for things that you can practice with, pulled from your everyday life. It's a really fun way to document food if you really enjoy cooking or consuming food. It's also a fun way to pull inspiration and kind of this daily journaling practice revolving around things from your everyday life. When it comes to the process, the tools, and the materials, there are so many different ways that you can do this and work off of those everyday things. I really enjoy printing out photography, drawing, writing over the top of it in my art journal. I personally love sketching. I love filling the pages of an art journal, or in this case, even a cheap composition notebook, giving myself the opportunity to practice documenting the things that I see and the things that are a part of my day in, day out life. Often, when I am drawing food, I will challenge myself to fill the entire surface. I'll go really large with certain shapes and objects. But if you are new to sketching or if drawing feels a little bit intimidating, I'd say go the the route of playing around with doodling. Just come up with some really simple shapes and doodles to document your food and just play around with what it feels like to practice observing things in your daily life and visually documenting those things in either a sketchbook, an art journal, or even just scrap paper. I'm going to let you all watch me finish up this particular food sketch, and then we'll move on to the second idea when it comes to pulling inspiration from your everyday life. The second idea when it comes to pulling inspiration from your daily life is actually documenting fashion, specifically things found in your own closet, or maybe things that you are inspired by, or maybe might be interested in purchasing someday if the budget allows. I absolutely love fashion and I love diving into my own closet, into my jewelry collection, into accessories and using that as inspiration for drawing practice or for finding themes within my art journaling process and on those pages. So, something I am notorious for doing is pulling out some of the clothing from my closet and lining them up and just using them as a place to practice. So, I will try to fill a surface with the many different things that I observe, again, pulled from my closet. I just love the idea of digging into the things that make you authentic and unique and pulling those things into your artwork, even if it is just a daily practice of working through sketching, drawing, art journaling, and going through what it feels like to experiment and play around with different things. It's really an interesting approach to start thinking about all the different things that make you and your daily life unique. Again, there are all kinds of really beautiful things out there in the world, big, beautiful places to experience. And I think sometimes with inspiration and art, it can feel really tempting to only make art when you are really inspired by those big moments and beautiful things. But something I've found over all my years of making art, studying art in college, and running a business based around art is that you can really pull in your own unique voice and narrative when you find ways to look for themes, narratives, imagery from your daily life. And again, sometimes those things aren't always big and beautiful and adventurous or things even pulled from big places and spaces. Sometimes that inspiration is lurking under your nose, in your closet, around your home. And I love the idea of utilizing something that makes you unique. Oftentimes, fashion is a way that we are able to express ourselves. It doesn't necessarily have to be whatever is trending, but perhaps it's some beautiful accessories or your favorite pair of shoes or a dress you wore to an event or some kind of pants that have some kind of meaning to you. I love the idea of incorporating that into a sketching process or into some sort of daily practice where you are exploring themes and inspiration again from your daily life. I love using just really simple drawing or even simple doodling to capture my own favorite things within my closet. I will often challenge myself to fill an entire surface and then go back in and fill things with color. I'm once again in this particular example just working in the pages of a cheap composition notebook, often a place where I am able to feel not so precious and I can just play, practice, and experiment. I try my best to fill all of the space and again go back in and play around with color within the different objects and things that I have pulled from my own closet for that inspiration. This is a really great way to practice drawing if you are new to drawing. It's a great way to practice what it feels like to look at something and then try to capture that visually within your creative process. And I really enjoy going about this process in a variety of different ways. I like adding all kinds of different pieces from my closet all over a surface, but I also really enjoy focusing in on some of my favorite things, particularly jewelry. I have a pretty extensive jewelry collection and I love playing around with drawing and capturing some of my favorites, and I will often go larger with the size and scale of things on that surface. Now, if drawing is not something that you're ready to do or something you're up for, you can absolutely use photography of your own fashion or jewelry pieces and accessories. Use that as a way to create mixed media pages in your art journal. This is just another fun way to really explore the things that you already have hanging around your everyday life and turn them into something that really is incorporated into your creative surfaces. I'm going to finish up this last page and then we will dive into the third little piece of inspiration. The third and last idea when it comes to pulling inspiration from your everyday life is actually creating a still life or still lifes from things you have around the home. Now, I have a little confession to make. Back when I was majoring in painting and printmaking in college, working from a still life was really some of my least favorite type of assignments to work through. At the time, I just felt like they didn't push me and I wasn't creative enough for the things I wanted to be doing in my art. But all these years later, I've actually found a love for creating a still life and using this as practice or as a way to create a narrative within my art that is very much grounded in things that are authentic to me. So, what I really enjoy doing is going around our house or even my studio and collecting different objects. I often will pull things within themes, so maybe things from nature, maybe vessels, things that are maybe floral, things from the kitchen, and I love setting them up and pairing them together in an interesting way. The reason why a still life can actually be really handy in your art is it gives you the opportunity to practice working with different objects, different shapes. A really great process to actually practice and explore working with composition, maybe themes and shapes that you don't normally work with. And I just absolutely love the idea of using things you already have around your home that might have some sort of special meaning or be able to even create your own narrative. I think that's what makes the still life creative process for me a little bit special these days is that I like incorporating objects and things that have meaning to me that are a little bit more personal as opposed to doing something in a classroom where the teacher sets it up. It's really fun to go hunting and searching in your drawers, around the house, throughout your kitchen, objects that have meaning, memories, and see if you can create an interesting setup that you can work off of. Now, I work in a variety of different mediums. I spend a lot of time practicing and getting comfortable with ideas, as well as using my sketchbook and art journal as a place to brainstorm and work through ideas that I eventually share here in this space on YouTube or in my classes. And so I really enjoy playing around with acrylic paint, with drawing, playing around with objects that are flattened out, or perhaps bringing dimension to them with color and shading. And so I just love the idea of giving yourself these little setups, these little opportunities to explore things that you already have hanging around your house. And this is just another way that you can begin playing with themes that are absolutely authentic to you. Perhaps the vases, the plants, the things that you're incorporating into these still lifes have some sort of special meaning. And I love the idea of that being a really simple way to explore creating a narrative in your art and explore pulling things into your art that speak to you. And while the viewer might not know what the meaning is, or you may not ever show these things to anybody, it's really a quick, fast way to start looking for inspiration that doesn't feel like you have to step outside and go on some big, wonderful trip or a place that is big and spectacular. Often there really are these beautiful little moments or beautiful objects that have a lot of meaning to us that we can incorporate into our art that doesn't require us needing to go do big things. I think sometimes inspiration can feel like a tricky thing to hang on to or a tricky process to capture. And I love the idea of really challenging ourselves to look into the monotonous, to look into our everyday lives, to start creating narratives that really speak to us, who we are, and the things that are meaningful or perhaps hold really special memories. So I'm going to let you all watch me work through a couple of different still lifes in my own process. And I am hoping within this video you get a little bit of inspiration to go gathering and thinking about inspiration in your home or in your daily life. I'm actually sharing this in the middle of winter after we just got through a huge ice storm and we were stuck at home for a handful of days. And it really is a great reminder of how much inspiration is really out there. Even if you are feeling limited with time or limited with resources, I promise you, you're probably able to find something in your everyday life that can bring a little bit of inspiration into your artwork.